Nairobi usually gets one night. You land, sleep near the airport, and by morning you're on a plane to the Maasai Mara, treating the capital like a waiting room for the real Kenya. Here's what that misses. Nairobi is the only capital on Earth with a full national park inside the city limits, where lions and rhinos graze in open grassland with office towers right behind them, 15 minutes from downtown. The safari starts here. So before you rush off, here are 17 things to do in Nairobi worth more than a one-night stopover. Number 1 is that park, and it's the reason to plan your first morning ahead of everything else. Nairobi National Park sits about 7 kilometers from the central business district, and it holds 4 of the big 5: lion, leopard, buffalo, and black rhino. No elephants, the space is too tight for the range they need, but it has the densest black rhino population in Kenya. You drive open grassland tracks, and the animals genuinely do not care about the towers behind them. I've sat out there at dawn watching a lioness flatten the grass while the city's rush hour backed up on the road behind her, close enough to hear the horns, and your brain refuses to hold both pictures at once. If you can't get a car or a driver, the same gate has a raised walkway, the Nairobi Safari Walk, where the sightings are guaranteed even if the magic isn't. Go early, the light is better, and the animals are up and moving. Tucked inside that same park is number 2, and it might be the most disarming hour you spend in Kenya. The David Sheldrick Wildlife Trust runs an orphanage for elephants that lost their mothers, usually to poaching or drought. Every day, from 11 in the morning to noon and only that 1 hour, they bring the young ones out to the public for a mud bath and a milk feed. The keepers walk out with oversized baby bottles. The little elephants come barreling across the red dirt, and some of them flop straight into the mud in front of you. It is genuinely moving, and it's run by people who raise these animals around the clock and later release them back into the wild in Tsavo. 2 catches, and they matter. That 1 hour window is the only time you can go, so build your morning around it, and you have to book in advance, sometimes weeks out, because it sells out and there are no walk-ins. And if you fall for one of them, and you will, you can foster it for a set yearly fee, which also gets you a quieter private visit in the evening once the public has gone home. A 5-minute drive away is number 3, and you should do the 2 the same morning. The Giraffe Centre sits in the same leafy cairn and Longata pocket, and it exists to protect the Rothschild's giraffe, a subspecies that was down to about 130 animals when a couple started rescuing them here back in 1979. You climb a raised wooden platform that puts you level with their heads, and you feed them pellets by hand. If you're brave, you hold a pellet between your lips and let a giraffe take it, which the staff cheerfully call a giraffe kiss. Their tongues are long, dark, and rough, and warthogs mooch around underneath, hoovering up whatever drops. It's touristy, sure, but the conservation is real and the population is back into the hundreds. Do this one with the elephants, and you've done the 2 best animal encounters in the city before lunch. For number 4, swap the animals for trees, because this one comes with the richest backstory on the whole list. Karura Forest is a huge patch of real forest, over 1,000 hectares, sitting right inside the city, with more than 50 kilometers of trails, a waterfall, caves, and monkeys in the branches. Here is why it still exists. In the late 1990s, developers with government connections quietly carved off more than half of it for luxury homes and a golf course. A woman named Wangari Maathai and her Greenbelt movement fought back, and when she walked into Karura to plant trees in protest, hired men beat her bloody on the spot. She did not stop. The forest was saved, and a few years later, in 2004, Maathai became the first African woman to win the Nobel Peace Prize. So when you rent a bike and ride out to that waterfall in the shade, you're riding through a fight somebody bled for. It costs almost nothing to get in, it's calm, and of all the green in Nairobi, this is the one I'd make the time for. Go on a weekday morning if you want it mostly to yourself. Quick thing before we keep going. A few of the best items on this list need booking ahead or a driver, and some are day trips out of the city. I've put together a guide on saving money while you travel, plus a short list of Nairobi operators worth using, and both are linked down in the description. Grab them before you book, while there's still time to use them. Stay in that same neighborhood for number 5, because the area around it is literally named after her. Karen Blixen was the Danish writer behind Out of Africa, and her old farmhouse is now a small museum at the foot of the Ngong Hills. She bought the place in 1917 to run a coffee farm, stuck it out through a failing marriage and a failing harvest, and finally gave up and sailed home to Denmark in 1931. The bungalow is preserved the way she left it. Her furniture, her books, the old coffee grinding machinery out in the garden. From the veranda, you look straight at the Ngong Hills she wrote about, and if the film is all you know, the 1985 one with Meryl Streep, some of it was shot right here. Take the guided tour. The guides are good, and the house means very little without the story attached to it. Which brings you to number 6, because those are the hills you should go climb. The Ngong Hills are a ridge of 7 green peaks on the southwest edge of the city, and they split Nairobi from the Great Rift Valley, dropping away on the far side. Walk the first peak, and it's an easy hour or so, family stuff, with the rift on one side and the city on the other. Walk all 7, and you're looking at 4 or 5 hours, and reel up and down, past a line of modern wind turbines strung along the top. On a clear morning, you can see Mount Kilimanjaro floating off to the south. 2 things worth knowing before you head up. There are rangers on the trail, and it closes around 5, so don't start late. And on the emptier far peaks, take a guide, because there have been muggings out where it gets remote and lonely. I'd do the first peak, take the photos, and turn back for coffee rather than push the full traverse, unless you came to sweat. Back in the middle of town, number 7 holds the claws of 2 lions that once terrorized this railway. The Nairobi Railway Museum tells the story of the line the British pushed from the coast to Lake Victoria in the 1890s, the one the papers called the Lunatic Express, because the terrain, the disease, and the wildlife killed thousands of workers building it. Roughly 4 men died for every mile of track. The worst stretch was at Tsavo, where in 1898 2 male lions started dragging workers out of their tents at night and kept it up for months until the chief engineer, John Patterson, finally shot them both. The actual claws are in a case here, along with old steam engines you can climb on, a 1920s typewriter, and the railway coach used in that same Out of Africa film. It's dusty and underfunded, and I loved it. If you've got kids, or you like a good grim story, this one delivers well above what you'd expect from a railway museum. Right, you need to eat, and the thing to order in Nairobi is nyama choma, roast meat done slow over charcoal. Kenyans take it seriously, and number 8 is the most famous place to try it as a visitor, Carnivore, out on Longata Road, going since 1980. It's a set price, all-you-can-eat meat marathon. Waiters move table to table with skewers straight off the fire, carving beef, lamb, pork, chicken, and farmed exotics like ostrich, crocodile, and camel onto your plate until you physically lower a little flag to make them stop. Is it touristy? Completely, and it's a bit of a circus with it. I'd still go back once, because it's good fun, and the meat is the real draw. If you want to eat where locals eat, ask around for a proper nyama choma joint and order the goat, but Carnivore is the easy first swing at it. Number 9 is the one the animals steal all the attention from, and it holds the most complete early human skeleton ever found on Earth. The Nairobi National Museum is where they keep Turkana Boy, a nearly whole Homo erectus skeleton about 1.6 million years old, dug up near Lake Turkana in 1984. Kenya is one of the places our species came from, and this is the room where you stand a couple of feet from the proof. The rest of the museum covers Kenyan history, wildlife, and culture, and there's a snake park attached if that's your thing. I understand the pull of a baby giraffe over a glass case, but if you have any interest at all in where humans come from, an hour in here is time well spent. It's central, air-conditioned, and a smart move if the weather turns on you. To get above all of it, number 10 costs about the price of a coffee. The KICC, the Kenyatta International Convention Center, is that cylindrical tower in the middle of downtown, and its rooftop helipad has been opened up as a viewing deck. It's the highest spot in the city you can stand on, and there's no glass and no fence, just open air and a clear view of Nairobi in every direction. You take the lift most of the way and walk the last flight of stairs to the top. For residents, it costs a couple hundred shillings, for visitors a bit more, and it's still only a few dollars either way. Do it on your first day, honestly, because seeing the whole layout from up there makes the rest of the city click into place. Clear mornings are best before the haze builds. And when you come down from the tower, number 11 is a short walk away. Huru Park is the big central green next to downtown, an open lawn, a man-made lake with paddle boats, and on weekends, half the city out relaxing in it. There's a nice footnote here. This park was almost lost too. Back in 1989, the government planned a 60-story tower and a giant statue right on it, and the same Wangari Maathai stopped them cold. It's free, it's central, and it's the easiest place to sit for 20 minutes and watch the city be itself on a Sunday. One quick ask, then I'll leave you to it. If the list is useful, a like is what nudges it in front of the next person planning this trip. Right onward. For anything you want to take home, number 12 is your spot, and the trick is that it moves. The Maasai Market isn't one fixed place, it's a roving craft market that sets up somewhere new on different days of the week, rotating between car parks and malls around the city. You'll find beaded jewelry, sandals, carved animals, woven kiondo bags, and those bright Maasai shuka blankets. Ask a local or your hotel which day it lands where, or you'll turn up to an empty lot. And haggle hard, because the first price for a visitor is often 3 or 4 times what the thing is worth. Smile, walk away once, and watch the number drop. This one, number 13, comes with an honest asterisk, so here's the current state of it. Bomas of Kenya, out in Langata, is a cultural center built as a set of traditional homesteads from different Kenyan communities, with a resident troupe that performs tribal dances every day. On a normal day, it's one of the better ways to get a feel for the range of cultures in this country in a couple of hours. The catch is that as of now, it's been closed for a massive rebuild, part of a huge convention complex going up on the site, and the reopening has slipped past its target more than once. So don't build a day around it until you've checked that it's open again. When it does come back, it'll be worth a stop. I just don't want you driving out there to a construction fence. Numbers 14 and 15 are both day trips, both waterfalls, in opposite directions out of the city, so pick the one that fits your route. 14 Falls is about an hour and a half northeast, near Thika, and the name is literal. It's a wide curtain of a dozen or more separate falls, spilling side by side over red-brown rock across the Athi River. In full flow after rain, it's properly powerful, and local guys will dive off the top into the pool for tips if you're into that. Do keep in mind the Athi carries a lot of silt, so the water runs frothy and brown rather than postcard blue. And this is more about the noise and the scale than a swimming hole. There's an old colonial hotel nearby, the Blue Post, for lunch before you drive back. The gentler one is number 15, and it's closer, about 40 minutes north in Kiambu. Paradise Lost is a small private park built around a waterfall you can actually walk behind into a genuine cave in the rock, with Stone Age tools once found inside it. Around that, there's a little lake with boats, a picnic lawn, horse and camel rides, the kind of easy afternoon that's great if you've got kids or you just want a slow one. It's a landscaped, family-run spot, but the waterfall and the cave behind it are the real thing and worth the short drive. If I had a free half day and didn't feel like the 2-hour haul to Thika, this is where I'd spend it. Now for the shiny side of Nairobi, and I'll be honest about it. Number 16 is Two Rivers, one of the biggest malls in East Africa, and stuck on the side of it is the Eye of Kenya, a 60-meter Ferris wheel that is, for the record, the tallest on the whole continent. It's a real landmark and the view is fine, but the ride is slow. It takes about 16 minutes for a couple of lazy turns, and it wears thin fast unless you're with kids or on a date. This is also where you notice that a lot of Nairobi's modern fun, the malls, the go-karting, the wheel, is priced for expats and the well-off. It's a genuine side of the city, and if you've got the money and the time, go. Only know the best things here aren't the expensive ones. I went back and forth on number 17 and kept it, because it's too odd to leave out. There is a full ice skating rink in Nairobi. Actual ice in a city that sits practically on the equator. The Solar Ice Rink over at the Panery Hotel on Mombasa Road is the largest in all of Africa. It's solar-powered, and Kenya's national ice hockey team, yes, that exists, the Ice Lions, trains on it. It's pure novelty, and it isn't why you came to Kenya. But there's something great about lacing up skates a few hours after you watched wild lions in the grass. That contrast, that's the whole point of the city. So that's the case for Nairobi. 17 things, and notice how few of them are the airport. In one city, you've got wild lions with a skyline behind them, orphaned elephants at 11 in the morning, a forest somebody bled to protect, the actual man-eaters of Tsavo, and the oldest near-complete human on Earth, plus a few honest day trips at the edges. The people flying straight through to the Mara are right that the Mara is incredible. They're skipping the one place where the safari is already in the backyard, half seen, on their way to the airport. So give it a couple of proper days rather than one rush night. The park at dawn, the elephants at 11, the rooftop before the haze burns off, and you've already had a bigger day than the flight out ever promised. Kenya starts here, not out there.